You're now entering the LuxCore Studios. And you've secured a seat for the Protecting Your Radius podcast. Here, we build connections from your contracting profession to some of the top bleeding edge products and services. Don't get deterred. Let's not delay. Here is your host, Nathan Downs.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Protecting Your Radius podcast. I'm your host, Nathan Downs, and today is the day. We have a special announcement. You know, we made a lot of waves last year, at least especially in our marketplace, last June, with the hiring of Mr. Donnie Lockhart, who's been in the industry for many, many years, and many people around the Tulsa area market were very familiar with Donnie and stuff. And we have added another team member here within a week, a guy that's been around for a minute, and a lot of people know him. Everybody knows Donnie now because of his podcast, but now we have someone else already famous before coming to Radius, Mr. Randy Ward. Randy, welcome.
Thank you.
Let's see if I can find the round of applause here. Okay. Yeah, good. What's up, buddy?
Hey, man, that's glad to be here. Pretty excited.
I never use sound effects. So, well, yeah. So I've been trying to actively recruit Randy for a long time. He was definitely Donnie. I'll tell you everyone one thing, kind of behind the curtains. Donnie approached me, after I left our last company, for a number of different reasons, but he really wanted, he knew he had seen my genesis at the old company, Randy, from starting from scratch and to be able to develop part of the company that produced $3 million and all this stuff by myself, right? Mm-hmm. With very little resources as far as other help and stuff within the team and whatnot. So Donnie knew, because of his experience and all the great things that he can do and what he brings to the table, he really felt like, you know, he could be part of this thing from the ground and really drive some things up, which of course, obviously he is. You guys hear us talk about it all the time. He's the lieutenant of the army, right? Like he's the co-commander, so to speak, especially on, like we've discussed, out in the field. Yeah. Like in the trenches, like he's that guy that has done it, that gets it. He's very steadfast. Everyone that listens to his show knows he may be wrong, but dadgummit, he's going to die on that hill.
That's right. He
is right in his own mind. And that's powerful stuff, especially if you know how to hone that and kind of, you know, mold that into something that can be very positive and creative. So Randy, you guys have heard his story before. Starting in the dairy industry, getting into it in California, coming out to Arkansas, running one of the biggest, you know, companies locally, regionally for a long time. Mm-hmm. Out in Arkansas, you've been in distribution the last couple of years and everything. And then the itch of contracting.
That's what we do, right?
Has drawn you.
That's what we know.
The easy life of being in distribution was just not made for Randy Ward, I guess. So, but no, I mean, I think Randy, the one thing we've known each other for years. I'd say, especially over the last 10 years, we really got to know each other very well. I respect just you as a person first, and people know that they've heard me talk about that's how we recruit and hire, you know, is off of character, is off of these things. Sometimes we recruit and hire off of character from what we've heard from people that we respect and that may not always work out, right? You know, people have to prove themselves anyways. But like in your situation, and just like Donnie's, you know, I am sticking my neck out. Like I'm fully aware, like we're going into winter. There ain't a lot on the job board, all these different things, you know, but as far as what it takes to run what we have going, but the future, like what's on the horizon, is so much bigger and better than where we're at today with someone like you. So yeah, I'd love for you to share, which is why I wanted you to talk about it and do a podcast so we could formally announce this to everyone. But on top of that, man, what were some of the things for the other business owners and stuff like that? Because you've been actively recruited by way bigger companies than ours, like much larger, like entities that have offered him the world. And I feel very humbled to know that Randy decided to attach his wagon over to ours right now. So yeah, I'd love for you to just share quickly, like, man, how'd you get to this spot? How are you sitting here knowing what's in front of you and knowing how damn hard it's going to be?
Well, I tell you, it was a lot of prayer, a lot of reflection, but ultimately, I'm a small business guy. I'm a family business guy. I've worked for Benford Supply, which is part of FSG Group, the last couple of years, and they've been great to me. I'm telling you, they could not have treated me any better. I don't have any complaints, but there are things at the corporate level that, not with the people I work with, but sometimes the people you work for, not that they haven't been good to me. They've been super good to me, and nothing negative here. But I just don't fit into that. You know, I'm a real people person. You know, I've watched what you've done, Nate, and as you've known, we've talked since the inception, right? You've asked me a lot of things. We've communicated. We've thrown ideas on the board, and really, a lot of my hesitation has been knowing a small business taking on a big salary in the middle of the winter. I was concerned for you, but I feel like the time is right. I mean, you've set a really good foundation, and really, for you to get to the next level, you need some help.
Yeah.
I mean, you're doing everything on your own. What you've done is amazing, and if I could just be the support system in the background to allow you to go forward with your dreams,
yeah,
and not be so distracted by things that shouldn't be distracting you. I think we'll do great things. I think this thing's going to blow up, and we're going to make this time next year, everybody's going to be like, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the thing. Two things you made me think of when you said that, Randy. The first thing was having this conversation with my wife at home and knowing like that whole process of it, of going like, you're in the throes of it. You can make some more money. We're getting some money under us and all these things. And then all of a sudden I'm over here going, well, my capital investment for 2023 is in a person, not in more machinery, not in the new building, not in all these other things that we're doing, and, it's a conversation we had at home going like, is this the right time and all these things? And I've told you, I see us fast forwarding 2 or 3 years in the next 6 months through the wintertime, because now we've got another force to help myself and Donnie take things to the next level and pick up the pieces that we just don't have time to do to run the day-to-day operations. But then the aptitude that you have being a general manager at a large company for so long and all these different things, like we're able to just compress time frames. So it's an investment of compressing time frames for the business as much as anything, which is why I was like, well, this is a no-brainer to me. I'm so dadgum aggressive. I'm like, let's freaking go, let's get it done. But then thinking about, you'd mentioned like the corporate side of things, and, Benford Supply has been like, even when we're talking about this, I can never offer the things that they've offered. I mean, it is incredible. Even the conversations you've had with the upper management and stuff like that from the team. I mean, they really know you. And I think that's a testament to your experience and what you bring in value. So I just feel like I'm seeing this stuff going, oh my gosh, like, are you going to stay? But
let's see what he says next year when hey, by the way, Randy didn't work out. And,
no. But I was thinking back to my own, when you were saying that, I was thinking back to my own experience, like at Ameristar and how I left Ameristar and all that stuff like that. Like, it doesn't mean that we don't do a good job or that we don't do different circumstances nonetheless, but still, for anybody out there, if you're in those scenarios, like, you really got to know your own heart. And I think that because we're buddies, that has helped me draw you away from that, where he didn't get in a situation like me at Ameristar where they're like, Nathan, you just need to leave. I'm like, I need to leave. And they're like, I know, right? It sounds weird for us to say that too. I don't think Benford would have gotten to that scenario with you. You're not as nearly as brash as I was in my 20s, going into my 30s, but nonetheless. But dude, I'm thinking we've got so much work to do ahead of us. I mean, the road is, we can see it, it's got a fog over it. You don't really know exactly where it's going, but, your experience and some of the things we've even been talking about now, on the gate side, all the things that you offer there. I mean, I really want to hone in. A lot of people don't know. I want to hone in on the gate side and really kind of create more processes, more procedures, SOPs, all that stuff in place to where we can exponentially grow that, because there's a demand for it in our market.
Oh, it's wide open. I'm hoping we can start bringing on some of our own team members to do some of that stuff. I know you've got some really, really great subs.
Yes.
They do a really good job for you. We don't want to do anything to, hurt that relationship, but we're going to grow this thing where they can't keep it all up.
Right.
I mean, we need somebody that's going to be full-time service. There's a huge market in service. I mean, you can get a guy in a little pickup or a van with a few parts, and trust me, we can make some money with that guy. Just knocking on doors of these apartment complexes and mini stores and yada, 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 So there's lots of opportunities of growth here. And the cool thing about access control, as we all know in our business, it is a niche. And it's hard to fill that niche. We're always looking for that person. Mm-hmm. But I know, knowing you, Nate, that you're willing to invest that time. I'm willing to invest that time.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid to go out, and I don't like the cold weather. Let me make that pretty clear. But I really enjoy going out and putting in gate operators. Still, I love that. And there's maintenance contracts. There's, selling transmitters over the counter. There's just all kinds of little areas that we can grow this thing and make that, and one of the things too that we want to do is we're going to strategically plan what we're going to do.
Yeah.
And then we're going to hit those markers, and we're going to look at that board, and we're going to see where we're at. We want to grow access control here. We want to grow our commercial department here. We want to grow our residential department here. And what is it going to take to do that, and what investments? And I appreciate the fact that you're making this investment with me. I really, my hope and prayer is that we just knock it out of the park, and that, we just make so much money. We're out playing golf, and other people are doing what they need to do, right?
Hey, that'd be
That's
cool.
the goal.
I need to take my lessons. My wife's listening to this going, I bought you those lessons for Father's Day 2 years ago, and I still haven't taken those dadgum lessons. So
that's where we make money on the golf course, guys. Come on. Yeah.
I need to get to that point. I'm still in the field trying to make money. I'm like, come on.
But I think where I can help is, you have such a passion for marketing. You need to be the face of the company. And I've watched you, like, between trying to do the podcast, be a dad, be a husband, and be the only guy selling $3 million a year. I mean, Donnie's helping, but
Sure.
I mean, and scheduling the work. I mean, guys, what you don't understand, there is 2 men that do this, $3 million, and 2 young women in the office that do the admin. Yeah. That's it. And they're doing $3 million plus, and with several sub crews. And I got to tell you, I'm blown away by what you've done just with you too, man. I mean, in my other company, we did $3-4 million, and trust me, we had a team that did that. So kudos to you. And I'm excited to learn from that, because I've had lots of pieces before, and to see you do this so lean is pretty amazing. And I know I'm going to learn some things from you on that, 100%.
Yeah, I've been watching some of these guys over the last couple of weeks. It's really funny. They're talking about their first, one of the guys got a little storage facility for his new company, and he's like, yeah, first steps, and then like everybody started going back through their pictures, and it's just really cool. And I'm like, well, this is our second step, and I look around and people come in here and they're like, what the freak? I'm like, I know, right? You can tell I'm an office guy when I don't have a yard and I have a giant office building with all this nice stuff. I'm like, oh, well, I mean, but we had a goal, we had a plan. Like I had a vision for it long before it started. And I have to give kudos on some of the vision for some of this stuff you see on the outward appearance from Nathan Nelson over at Empire, and what he had done with what his vision was for their company. You walk into their office and that building and everything like that, like it doesn't feel like a fence company. And I always liked that. Like I appreciated that he didn't want to just be like his grandfather. But we love Bob, we love Grandpa to death. And it's really cool to see, you know what I'm saying? Like to be a part of that team and to grow it and see what that became. And then know when we started from here so quickly to like that I immediately went to that, right? Like I went out of that little warehouse where I'm sitting here sitting in the 10 by 10 office with the bathroom going, I'm like, I don't think I can do this by myself. I am a people person, and sitting in that little warehouse day after day, Ashley would be like, how's it going? And I was like, it's not going good. And she's like, what are you talking about? I go, business is fine, but I don't feel right here. Like I feel like I'm not in a place I need to be. And she's like, oh, that's weird. And I was like, I know, right? And then prayed about it and tried to figure out some things, and then realized I'm like, I was like, it's not for my own, I don't know. It wasn't for my own ego. It was really more for my own austerity. Like just the fact of my brain power. Right. Like I needed to come to an actual office, and I didn't even know that was important to me till I didn't have it.
For over 30 years, Southwest Automated Security has been the premier provider of gate operators, access controls, CCTV, and so much more. Visit southwestautomated.com today, taking dealers to the next level.
Oh, it's always been, I think that's very important, actually. We're all cut from different molds, it's interesting. You were talking about Bob and how, Nathan had a different vision. We always want to respect those that got us here, right? I mean, without, our past fence geniuses, none of us would be here. But there was about 3 or 4 years ago at AFAU, that was a big thing. We're grandfather's fence company anymore. That was kind of their theme. They were going around. It was interesting. The ag guys, Brad Howard was chair that year. And he brought in a bunch of new people that Josh Gibson
Luke
Gibson. I'm sorry, Luke Gibson. Sorry, Luke. And he brought in this fancy equipment, and they were drilling, all this cool stuff and new ways of do things. And it just made us all realize, hey, man, there's different ways of doing things. Just like everybody's pounding post right now. We're learning new things, and what Sean King is always, going out there, and we're different. We're not our grandfather's fence company, and we're recognizing the things that make us tick. When you rented this office with no yard inside, I'm thinking, dude, what's the guy doing? And then I seen this beautiful office, and I said, well, he's an office guy, and that's what gets him. But there's nothing wrong with that because it's great. That's what gets your juices flowing. That's what makes you get up in the morning. Man, if you'd have stayed in that little warehouse, you wouldn't be doing $3 million.
Right. True.
I wouldn't be working for you. Donnie wouldn't have been working for you. So, you got to have a vision and know yourself where you want to go, and you just got to keep making them check marks, and I think that's going to be real important too. And you do a good job on your podcast explaining that, you got your goals, you got your vision board, whatever it takes to get your juices flowing, get you up out of bed every day. I'm sorry, but I'm excited. I'm just excited. I think this is going to be a lot of fun. I'm jumping out of the frying pan into the fire,
literally,
but I live in the fire. So this will be good. This will be good. The one thing I will say with distribution, what I found out is there's problems that happen that you can't have any control over. There's a shipping issue, or we can't get the product or whatever, and I can't pivot because there's people above me and above me and above me that's their job, and I can't get into their job. With what we do and a small business does, we got the liberty to make some decisions. Yeah. We can say, okay, I can't do that for you, but I got a deal for you. You can just fix things.
Yep.
And that's one of the things I realized that, and I've shared this with you. What I've learned about myself the last 4 or 5 years is I love to help, right? I just love to help. I like to make people happy. I'm a people pleaser. I love to watch people succeed. I mean, that's what gets me going. If I can give somebody a little nugget and they take it and it helps them, or if they don't have to take it, but whatever, if just watching the growth, the fence guys over in Arkansas, those two guys, Blake and Skyler, they're just killing it, right? Ed Poe over at Pinnacle, in Northwest Arkansas, man, he got thrown in a bad position and he's just rocking and rolling, and I just love that. And our industry gets us those opportunities. So thank you for this opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely, man. You said something, and a lot of people don't know this about you. You're a big Grant Cardone guy.
Yeah.
Randy is also a consummate learner in sales, just professionally and stuff like that. So let's drop a couple ideas and concepts that from those type of trainings and teachings that you've done, what are some of those things that you've learned in reading or being at a seminar or something that helped guide you to this process? Because there's probably a lot of people watching this being like, how the heck do you get a Randy Ward? Because I've been wondering that too. Yeah, super lucky. That's how I feel, but I'm sitting here thinking, there's but you know what I'm saying? Like what are some things that you've learned or read up on that it really kind of gets you mentally in that state to where you would even take a risk like this? Or, I mean, it's not very risky, really. I mean, but you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's just like you said, jumping out of the frying pan into the fire. That is true. That is what's going on.
Well, it's the contracting world. You guys all know it. We live it, breathe it every day. I mean, we make I say this all the time. There's an old story. We make a plan and God laughs. Well, let me tell you, the fence God laughs every time you put it on the schedule, right? So it's just part of it. But Grant Cardone, he has this little stamp. He says, "Success is my duty," and I try it. This is we all say it, but you got to believe it. Attitude is everything. If you come in kicking your feet, and especially as leaders of your company, if you're complaining, if you're not happy, if you're grumpy, that's your culture. And Matt Warner, he's our culture king. We all love and admire Matt, but Cardone's the same way. John Maxwell's the same way. Dave Ramsey's the same way. I mean, I listen to these guys on the podcast every week. I listen to, somebody drops a dime on a book, I download it on Audible. I have to, we're going to do AFAU this next week, right?
Yep.
And I'm one of the sales training instructors. So I've been studying the curriculum, but I tell you what, man, I listen to Sell or Be Sold. I will listen to that all the way down to Arlington, and I'll have some nuggets for you. Because whether you love or hate Cardone, he's got his ways, but that guy sells.
He does.
And he has energy, and that's what we need in our business. We need positive energy. Everybody asks me, what book do you recommend? I'll tell you a little easy book that I think it should be mandatory for your team is The Energy Buzz by John Gordon. It's a simple, you can read it in 2 hours, or you can listen to it for 2 hours, whatever. And it's just a cheesy little book on your attitude, you know, and we're the driver of our bus, right? We control our destiny. We choose our attitude and whatever that is. And so to me, through all of my everything, and I just love it because it brings me in a good place in my mind. And it's just like golf, right? The 6 inches between your ears is the difference between a good player and a bad player. It's the same way in business. You have got to get up hungry, right?
Yep.
We got to be hungry. When we get fat, dumb, and lazy, everything falls apart. And sometimes success makes us fat, dumb, and lazy, and we get stuck in the mud, right? And so that's what I've enjoyed. That's what I've learned. And that's what, you know, actually even this stint with Binford, you know, I've got to know a lot of different contractors, and of course through the AFA. Dude, if you guys aren't involved in your local chapter, the biggest, best thing I ever did for my career, I'm telling you, hands down, was get involved in American Fence Association at my local chapter, making friends, getting involved with peers. You know, I met Tony Thornton. He was my Door King rep. We just hit it off. Tony's got that positive energy, that can do. You know, some of you, some of us, that's not our nature, right? I used to have a buddy of mine. He would say, I'm an a-hole. I'll always be an a-hole. That's who I am. I'm like, no, dude, you don't have to be. You can choose to change that, and we can choose to change that. So anyway, I got kind of on a rant there, but that's you asked me.
Yeah.
It's all about positive energies with me. I mean, everything I've learned, whether it be, I've went to conferences with Dave Ramsey. I've listened to, you know, a lot of wonderful speakers, and I loved Cardone, man. I mean, he's out there. I don't agree with everything he says, but that guy is a marketing genius, you know, so whether you don't always have to agree with everything, but you can admire what people do.
Sure. Absolutely. No, that's great. I love the energy bus.
I do too.
I know I read that book because you recommended it to me, but I was thinking back to, you know, the AFA and being part of a local chapter, you know, that's how we met.
Yeah.
Was actually from that. And I just remember the first time I met Randy and talked to you, you know, I was like, hey, that guy's pretty cool. And then we keep seeing each other. And I quickly realized once I always have to kind of feel people out. Even to this time, like I've kind of feel them out and say, you know, I meet somebody, I'm like, oh, that person looks sharp. They sound sharp. I wonder, you know, then I want to put them up like the litmus test to me because I'm in a type A personality is I'm sitting there thinking, well, what have they done? You know, because then I'll know. Like if I like the way they look, I like the way they talk, I like the vibe they bring. Well, have they actually done something? Well, then you come to find out they have done something, or they've done something long enough to where they obviously haven't failed. You're like, oh, okay. Well, no, now I really like them more. And then that was kind of with Randy. I'm like, who's that Silver Fox guy? You know, I'm like, that guy's cool. He's kind of like, you know, he could be my dad. And then the next couple of times I'm like, dang, he runs a big old operation out there in Arkansas. And then, oh, this guy's the president of the whole freaking AFA, like everywhere. And I was like, oh my gosh, from Arkansas, they had an Arkansas guy running this thing.
Yeah.
You know, then he's like, I don't claim Arkansas. He lives in freaking Tahlequah, Oklahoma. I'm like, all right, you know, come on, man.
Hey, I'm a Razorback, dude.
Yeah, well, that is true. But you're an Okie too, so whatever.
True, that's true.
And it's like me. I'm a Michigan guy, but I am an Okie, so I can't get away from that at this point. But nonetheless, so let's wrap this thing up. We will put a bow on this one since I didn't put a bow on the other one the other day. I think Randy was the one that called me out on it. So, what kind of closing thought do you want to leave with everyone? What do we want? Specifically, let's think about this because we've been talking about, good Lord, we have got a lot of things ahead of us, right? Mm-hmm. And we've been talking different things. You know, oh, we could do this. We could do this. What do you think? We've got 3 months until we see all of you at Fence Tech. What do you envision over the next 3 months for you personally and professionally of all the things you could bring to the table? Like, what do you want to just kind of throw out there as like, you know, the beginning of the genesis of this thing?
Well, I want to go through our processes. Mm-hmm. You know, I want to see how we do things. You have some pretty neat software that I'm not familiar with. but I would like us to focus the company on quality, which I'm sure you already do, and integrity.
Yep.
Right? If we say we're going to do it, we're going to do it.
Always.
Period.
Yep.
You know, and we share the same values on that, so I'm not worried about that. But just kind of, I just want to see where I'm going to fit in and where I can help.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, I love to help. You know, if you need me to do a takeoff, I'm going to do a takeoff. If you know, I guess really my goal, Nathan, is to get you doing what you love to do and what you're good at to grow the company.
Yeah.
So we can take care of things behind the scene so you don't have to worry about those.
Yeah.
If you got a cranky customer, they're not calling you. They're calling me. They're calling Donnie or whatever. And you just keep going, you just keep filling the pipeline.
That's the one thing as we've even talked over the last 2 weeks. It's like, well, what do you want to do? And I'm like, oh man, I haven't been in the situation where I can decide what I want to do in a long time. You know what I'm saying? Like really decide, because so many times I've been driven and dictated by customers of what I can do or can't do, you know, and it's part of the business, especially when you're growing, when you're doing things like I've done over the years where I'm trying to do all the things, you know, I'm trying to sell it, trying to market it, trying to, you know, order the materials, trying to schedule it, trying to make sure it's done, then trying to check for quality assurance. Then, I mean, literally, like when you hear that, like, you know, you've seen it. Mm-hmm. We really do all of that. And Donnie does too. Like we really do everything on our own. Right. Which is why Randy's here. But no, that's good, because I think that just like Randy said, when we look at the processes and we understand that all these things are in place and they're ready to be built out even on a grander scale, now someone like you with your general manager experience, with the hiring, the firing, some of the things. I mean, there's been things that you've taught me over the years that you probably didn't even know about, like how to, you know, I don't remember if you remember the conversation a couple of years ago, but how do you talk to someone when they're really not up to par? And you know my personality, which is a lot more like, you know, emotional, in your face. And then Randy like talked me through like how he does it. And it was really interesting because I'm an A personality. So for those of you that know my star system, I'm an A personality. Randy's an R, but Randy's a great salesperson that's an R. So he, like, I had a bunch of people last year after Fence Tech ask, well, I'm an R personality, but so I can never be a good salesperson. I go, no. Just because you see an A and we're naturally drawn to that doesn't mean that you can't be any of them. You can be anything.
Yep.
And do sales. You can be anything and do, it doesn't matter. It's just what your personality type is. If that makes sense, right?
100%.
So we don't let it dictate what we want to do. It may drive you to naturally be more inclined to do something, but like you love sales.
Yeah.
And he's an R, and you're like, so I love that, because a lot of people think that's an immediate conundrum. They think you need to be like me, where you're loud and over the top and, you know, making jokes and stuff. No, that's only if you like used car sales. You be like me. No, I'm just kidding. But I'm like, there's probably used car salesmen that see these reels and like hate
a
me.
relationship guy, like you teaching the start, is perfect for the consultative sales that we teach at AFAU.
Yep.
Because you're a relationship person and you want to help, and and that's what that is you are providing a service to help somebody, and you want them to feel good about what they're doing. So I find that as an advantage.
Yeah, absolutely. Which is why you're leading the charge this week when this comes out for the sales training school at the end of the week.
Yeah,
so.
It's going to be fun. You guys are going to enjoy it. I hope you come. I do.
Yeah.
We have a lot of fun. And actually, Benford, quick plug, Benford is sending the new general manager at Tulsa. His name is Scott Campbell. He's a great guy, and but come from the roofing industry. Mm. And Benford's sending him to fence installation school.
Great idea.
Yeah. So, you know, I know some of the bigger companies are having to reach out outside of our industry to get people. Fence installation school, he's going to come out of there. It's going to blow his mind.
Yeah. It's the same thing I said in the last plug, because I said we're wrapping this thing up. It's the same thing I've said before, but I will remind people on the gate operator installation school. So 100%. You even were looking at that a couple weeks ago, my certificate on the front wall in the lobby, right? And when you hear me say that, a lot of people are like, oh, I'm sure that, like, you don't understand. I went to that week-long school knowing nothing about low voltage anything, left there able to install, and we immediately installed operators at Ameristar, like within a week, okay? Mm-hmm. And that set the foundation of everything. So if we bring in people, we hire and we recruit people that haven't ever done this stuff, but they've done things similar. They're mechanics. They're HVAC. They haven't understood, right? They have that aptitude and that understanding. That is something where you could bring people from outside the trade, spend a couple $1,000s, immediately get your return on it because they come out going, oh, I could do this. This isn't hard. It's not easy, but it ain't hard. And you're learning from people that are giving you. I remember Scott Meckes, teach me tricks and stuff like that about loops. I have never forgot from day one. See, I feel blessed that I went to that first before being out in the field and doing it.
Oh, I wish I would have had it. Yeah.
Right. Because I'm sitting there thinking, well, Scott told me how to wind it, how to do this, how to do all that. And I was like, oh, so you don't, I always thought you had to use a BD loop. I didn't even know because we were just kind of getting into the parts. Didn't even know that you can do that different.
100%.
And not to say anything about BD loops. BD loops are awesome, and we do use them all the time. But you know what I'm saying, man? I mean, it was just like someone that actually had real world experience to be able to teach something. And then even the few times that I've done loops, I'll be honest, like I haven't done thousands of loops or anything like that. I've done dozens of loops. But to be fair, it allowed me 10 years ago to have a foundation to where now, even when I show up on a job site, like I can immediately start talking to the guys and I can go back in time and be like, no, this is crap that I learned at Gate Installation School, at GIS, that I would have never got if I would have just started doing it out in the field by myself.
It saves hours and hours and hours. It's just, just like Scott now, when these customers come talking to him about somebody's going through, hey, you didn't ask for rail ends. Do you need rail ends?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, thank you.
Yep.
I forgot to put that down. Thank you for that catch. Because, hey, man, we're in a hurry. We do stuff. In Binford, guys are coming in and making their list right there.
I do that too.
That's all I got to say about that.
So, anyways.
Scott will be great. Yeah. Thank you, Binford, for sending him, by the way.
Absolutely. Well, hey, we're super excited. Thank you, Randy, for letting everybody know. Thank you all for your positive vibes. And you can give Randy a hard time. Let him know what a terrible decision he's made professionally. Yeah, some of you that have been trying to recruit him, I know you're going to be calling him after this being like, son of a gun.
Well, Dan Blanc, now you know why I put that email address.
Yeah. I will give Dan credit. Last night, I randomly got a text message from him that said all these explicits, and then he was like expletives, and then he was like, I figured it out. I put 2 and 2 because I just happened to, and one of the things I said, yeah, we got a new hire and stuff like that, and it's really going to be a game changer. And him and Wheeler and them, they had no idea what I was talking about. And then Dan, and he was already giving me a hard time last week about when you put, oh, look at Randy saying he's at Radius, whatever. And then it was 48 hours later, he just suddenly last night is like, what? I figured it out. I'm like, yeah, you could have followed those breadcrumbs pretty easy. But nonetheless, I was like, he told me, he's like, I didn't see it coming, which is why I just blew right past it. And I was like, many of you didn't see that coming. But nonetheless, we're going to see what we can do. We're going to get to work and make some stuff happen. So, hey, Randy.
Thank you, Philip. I hope you're not regretting this in a few months.
No, we won't. We're excited. So
remember, you got it on tape that he said he won't.
True. So anyways, hey guys, we appreciate each and every one of you watching. Hey, as always, like, subscribe, hit that stuff, leave us reviews. Still collecting that. I may actually, through the end of the year here, do a little segment, reading some of the reviews and stuff. I always liked when Dan Blanc did that on his. So we may share some of that. So yeah, leave a review. Give us some feedback out there on the Apples and the Spotifys and YouTube. I'd love to read some of that stuff back off on these. And we will see you guys on the next episode. See ya.
You've been listening to the Protecting Your Radius podcast from the LuxCore Studios in Bixby, Oklahoma. Thanks for sticking around. and connect with us and all of our partners at www.protectingyourradius.com. We want to thank our premier partners. LuxCore, the newest line of premium quality composite infill to slide into your fence track fence system. Frame your style today. Also, Stain Track, the world's first patented standalone stain machine. Utilizing flood coat technology, Stain Track covers boards, pickets, posts, and any type of dimensional wood you can think of. And what better way to use your Stain Track machine than to use the easy application WoodDefender family of stains. WoodDefender goes on easy and covers in one coat with no back brushing. And of course, the true power of our show is you, the listener. Please rate and review our show on whatever platform you consume this content. Your 5-star likes and reviews help other contractors get the message that we all want to be better and do better. And in the construction world, we can never forget that before you can be great, you've got to be good. Before you can be good, you've got to be bad. But before you can even be bad, you've got to try.